Mr. Minister, I'd like to ask you both on...
No one made a pretense that other challenges that we knew existed were suddenly going to be wiped away. We knew that Iran supported Hezbollah. We knew that Iran had the IRGC in Syria. We knew that Iran was engaged in supporting activities in the region which could destabilize. We knew that Iran was indeed supporting the Houthi in their struggle in Yemen. So all of those issues we knew now have to be dealt with. And that is one of the principal reasons that President Obama convened the summit at Camp David with the Gulf states in order to talk about how we are now going to go after a nuclear agreement and continue to try to seek a change in Iran's behavior with respect to those other activities.
Of the King. Mr. Secretary, is this the kind of reform you had in mind?
The aspirations expressed by some people in Iran to be able to build a better relationship in the region and with the world is in fact the direction that Iran would like to go in. But the test of that is going to be in what Iran itself chooses to do in the days and weeks and months and years ahead. Clearly, there is a difference of opinion within Iran itself. And they're going to have to decide. I know from our conversation here this morning, Sheikh Khalid, that he would welcome, as would other Gulf state members, would welcome an Iran to the table if they want to be part of a genuine security arrangement for the region without these disruptive activities. That if Iran wants to be part of constructive resolution to Syria, constructive resolution to Yemen, it can be so. But it is not constructive to be sending dhows across the Gulf loaded with weapons that are only going to add fuel to the fire of a war we are busy trying to end. And we would invite Iran to be part of helping to end the war on a constructive basis, not to fuel it into greater conflict.
Colleagues in the GCC, Mr. Minister, had warned...
So we have hopes now that because the nuclear agreement is behind us, that these other issues can now become front and center, part of the conversation. But we have made it very, very clear that where there is a continued violation of the UN Security Council resolution or continued activity that disrupts this region or is calculated to provide insecurity or disruption in another country, we are going to stand together in our efforts in order to protect the security and long-term interests of the region, as well as to stand with our friends and our allies in their efforts to protect their countries.
Yes, we do want to see Iran change its foreign policy. I think this is the next big step for them to do, is to change their foreign policy, especially towards their region. As much as effort they put for the nuclear file, we need to see them also do that with their neighbors and stop the shipments of weapons and explosives, stop training of terrorists, and stop financing and supporting proxies in several places. This is the Iran that we will want to see. We want to have good relationship with them in the future, and we will always strive to do so. If they will take a step, we will take 2 steps.
Framework agreement. So we've now seen missile tests. We've seen 4 interdictions of Iranian arms, as the Secretary pointed out.
In Bahrain, as much effort we do in the fields of human rights and protecting human rights, in putting all the mechanisms that will ensure that we won't hit the hurdles that we did hit in the past about in the human rights field. We think we have done more, and we've done for all the problems we're facing. We've done what we are supposed to do, and we will continue to do so. Things always evolve, but we do respect that we have all the obligations to make sure that the human rights situation in Bahrain remain without any problems to face.
Who would answer the question of whether this is where you wanted to be, or